Welcome everybody. I'm Jason Vasquez, Board Chair for the Visalia Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of the Chamber, I would like to thank you guys for attending today's State of the Local Government Luncheon. Today's event is sponsored by our major title sponsor, Southern California Edison Company. In addition, we also have our supporting sponsors, which is Aetna, Cal Bennett's and Always Moving, HealthNet, Kuya Health, and today's lunch is provided by the Collective Catering. With that being said, I'm going to hand it off to Reggie Ellis, the president and publisher of the Sun-Gazette.
All right. Thank you, Jason. And let's all give another hand, not just for the Chamber for throwing this on, but also for our electeds for being put through the ringer today. So let's. I guess I keep this one. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
Good? Oh, am I supposed to do that?
No, I'm supposed to.
Oh, you're supposed to do that. All right. Well, then I will pass it off to Amy, and we will do the flag salute.
And if I may, I would like to ask our colleague, Kings County Supervisor Doug Vervoon, and my dear friend, if he would lead us in the flag salute today.
Our nation's flag. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One more thing.
Hey, I'm glad you're here.
I already talked to Jenna about this.
Just give me the sign. I'm close enough. I'm close
Yeah,
enough.
also, if I may, I talked to Jenna about this. There are a lot of other electeds in the room today. I saw quite a few, but if I know we have folks from the Kuya Board, maybe COS, the city, the assessor, and back in the corner, he sits in the corner thinking nobody will see him, but it's the tax collector. Right back there. So if all the other electeds in the room would stand, that would be great. Thank you. All right, now, Reggie.
Okay, thank you, Amy. I appreciate the help. So we've got a couple of questions here. We're going to start with. These questions are applicable to both the city and the county jurisdictions, and so I'm going to ask the question. I'll let you guys take it in the order that you want, and if I see one of you freezing, we'll call you out for it, and then we'll move on. So question one, I just want to start off with a two-part question here. The first part is for the council members, and the second for the supervisors. City of Visalia recently launched its micro-transit program. How is the system performing, and does it lower transportation expenses compared to maintaining buses on fixed routes?
Thank you. I'll take that one. I am also on Visalia City Council, but I'm also the Tulare County Association of Government Public Transit Reps. So this is really close and dear to my heart. I'm really excited about what the cooperation that's going on between the county and the city as far as transportation. But for the City of Visalia, we kicked off a micro-transit program 8 weeks ago. And if you don't know what micro-transport is, think of Uber rideshare. So you can call up, and I believe the wait time has been somewhere 15 to 20 minutes, and they can get you from door to door. You don't have to go to the bus stop or anything. It's a great service, and on the first 8 weeks we did, I have to get my data here, 2,790 passengers, more than 50 a day, and that's at $5 a trip. You can't pay for your gas and insurance for that, so I want to encourage all of you to pick up a flyer out on the table as you go by. It has a QR code for Visalia Connect, and we're working with the county. This county has a similar program that takes you outside of Visalia to the other areas of Tulare County, $5. In Visalia, you can be as young as 13 with parents' permission. And so think of the trips to the pool, to the soccer practices, and other things. You can put those kids on that bus. It's safe, it's fast, and it's just been a great asset. And it's much less expensive than the big bus with just a few people on it. And so Visalia Transit is also, we're going to be looking at their fixed route system, and there will be adjustments to that to just increase ridership and decrease expenses, which we all like.
Brett, anything to add?
Yeah, she did an amazing job, so really not much to add. Obviously, we're always looking to save costs, right? So if we're looking at something that's not working, and I think everyone here has seen those giant buses driving around town, and a lot of times, there's just 1, 2, 3 people inside of them. So our staff's amazing, and they were looking at different options that we could provide that is more effective for our constituents, and that also provided, a better service, a better product. And so we're glad that we're doing this test product. And if it's extremely successful, we'll continue. And if we see that our standard, lines start picking up again, then obviously we'll be investing more in those. So we're going to be flexible and provide our community what they need.
Okay. Second part, supervisors.
Hold on.
Oh, you have more to add
So
to
that was it.
that? What? You just want to say hold on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Hold on.
Well, Larry sits on the TCRTA board representing Tulare County, so I'm going to hand it off to him.
Why, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So I'm actually chairman on the board of the TCRTA, and the biggest thing, the change that we have is cooperation that's really come forward with the cities. Visalia and Boardville have their separate systems, and we're starting to work together. We've been working together for some time, and you can see the impact that it has in our communities, where it used to be somebody could not get from Visalia to Portsmouth. And it was just pretty insane what was happening. So a lot of things have changed, the cooperation's there, and this was actually a pilot program initially to test the feasibility of a microtransit program. And I don't recall the exact amount, but some of these bus routes are in a range of $10,000 to $20,000 a month that's costing for us to operate the systems. And then when you go by and you see an empty bus or a bus with 5 or 6 people, it is much more cost effective to have the microtransit, and where they pick them up and they can take them door to door instead of going to a station. And so it's actually benefits the community. So I think that we're wrapping up we're getting towards the end of the 3rd year of the testing of this to get an actually good study done. It does appear that it is saving a lot of money. We'll have to see. The $5 fee comes in because it's supplemented from TCAG money that's designed for transit that comes in, so we're offsetting it. I know one organization was trying to go basically free rideshare, but they quickly found out that that is not feasible. So they're having to make some changes. So what we're trying to do is make the best assessment we can to ensure that we provide the best service to our communities.
And we had a meeting on Monday. I covered for Supervisor Micari, and something that they're working on currently is allowing access to some of our healthcare folks, probably like Kauai, Adventist, and anybody else, that they can actually go into the portal themselves and make appointments for patients, because we know there is definitely a lack of access for folks, and transportation is one of those deficits. So for folks to be able to have their, wherever they're at, call and make that appointment right into the system, I think hopefully will help that issue also.
We can talk about this literally all day, but we also have wheelchair accessibility. We have a vehicle that they can actually help with that. So they do offer some great services that are able to help people in need.
It's not me. While we're on the subject of transportation, can the supervisors give us an update on the TCRTA, and then can the council members give us an update on if there's any partnerships or collaborations between City of Visalia Transit and the TCRTA?
That's good.
Yes, please.
Well, so the update, we're actually rebranding. We're looking at a new logo and some rebranding. I understand there was a discussion that came up, and in order to better provide what we're about, and basically everything seems to be going okay right now. It is a joint powers agreement, so everybody who's involved in a partnership with that gets to pay a portion of the fees and costs. So we're trying to make sure that everybody's being served, and that's about it. The biggest thing that we have is that the partnerships have actually come to fruition, and I think that's when we're going to see the biggest results.
Yeah, and Supervisor Micari has done a wonderful job on that, and with the city. In our last meeting, we sat down as a group, and we decided on fare rates, and some of us had to come down, some went up, but the thing is, it needs to be seamless for the riders. They're the people that we are trying to serve, and thank you to TCAG again for the pilot funds for this program, and I'm just very impressed with the cooperation between Porterville, Visalia, and the county to get done what is best for the riders.
It doesn't happen often, so it's happening here in front of people, but I just want to thank Supervisor Micari. He got onto the TCRTA, he's now the chairman, and as you can probably tell, he's kind of a no-nonsense kind of guy, and he's really pushed through a lot of good things and gotten things organized there, so thank you, Larry. Cringe when I say that.
How sweet. Speaking of transportation, everyone wants the roads fixed until it delays their morning commute. Despite the detours, there are some major, much-needed road projects underway in the Visalia area. Some counties, some cities, some joint, some state. The list includes the expansion of Riggin, Tulare, and Caldwell Avenues, as well as a new Highway 198 interchanges at Lovers Lane and Shirk. Which of these will have the biggest impact on the future circulation of the Visalia area?
All right, so yeah, if you guys are angry at the city, be mad at yourself. So we're only doing what you guys asked us to, right?
Check the surveys.
So our citizen surveys that we've been doing for years, decades. When we originally started doing these, one of the biggest issues was gangs, and so obviously that's where we put a lot of energy and focus into that. And once the gang problem started going down in our community, we started seeing that the number one issue was roads and homeless. Those were almost interchangeable depending on the year. And so our council heard you guys and said, we are going to put the money behind your guys' needs. And so we started working specifically on maintaining and repairing our roads. And so if you look over the last 4 or 5 years, we have tried to touch almost every road in the city of Visalia. And so we actually work in quadrants. So, I mean, the road in front of your house, the roads that you're driving on every single day, they should have had some type of work on them, and we're going to continue to do that. So, not only just like, the oils, the sand, they're reconditioning it. We've been doing some reclamite, and then, as you guys have seen, we have done major road projects on, all throughout the city. Right now, we're getting a lot of people. They're loving the fact that we're working on it, but they're also frustrated. They're frustrated that their drives to school aren't as seamless as they should be. And the reality of it is these projects are going to take some time. Most of them are 6 months to a little over a year. And so there was no perfect time, right? Like, we couldn't do it to not interfere with your guys' life, but we definitely took that into consideration. Some of our projects we're working more in the evening. I know that the Caldwell project, we're going to be working more in the evening on some of those, and then some of them are just unavoidable. I know recently we had someone reach out to me and say, hey, why are you guys working on Giddings right below the bridge, right when high school started? And it was like, simple, we can't work on a bridge with water flowing through it. And they're like, oh, didn't think about that. So our staff is very cognizant of our community's needs, and we want to make sure that we are fixing those roads, and so that we can enjoy the community we live in and get around in a timely manner. So which one's going to be best? I mean, it depends on what part of town you're at, right? The one in front of your house is the one that's most important. So we're trying to take care of all the roads and put them back into proper shape.
I just want to highlight a couple of those projects. One that we've been working on for many years with the city is the Caldwell Avenue 280. It started from we did the 99 to Acres, widened that currently. I think it's Santa Fe to Lovers Lane. Ted, right? Ted, our great director with our Association of Governments. So that's happening, and as we know, it seems like Caldwell is becoming like the alternate route to the 198 to get from west to east in the county. So that's a big one. Also, we will be starting work. They're starting clearing work actually for the 99 and Caldwell interchange. Major things are happening there. Hopefully one day, that's where the Sequoia Gateway Center is. There's some commitments. Hopefully they're still there from Valley Children's. to have a specialty medical clinic. I believe Kauai Health is hoping to do some work there. So that's going to be starting. That's going to be, we talk about these other ones. This is going to be, there'll be major detours, but when all is said and done, it'll be a great project. It'll have dual roundabouts. I know this, so start practicing now. Okay. Larry called me the other day. He was stuck going in circles and circles, and so just practice now.
Go practice in Farmersville.
There'll be, dual roundabouts.
Farmersville and Didoka.
So the clearing is starting, but it's a great project. And then another project I want to talk about, somewhat transportation, but again, it involves the city and the county, and that's the Goshen Trail, right along here, along the railroad tracks. Again, TCAG went to the California Transportation Commission, and we were awarded $33 million, I believe it was, to finish this trail. So it's a biking, walking trail, and you have to have patience. Because I started talking about this, doing something to this trail when I was on the city council in 2007, and it's finally coming to fruition. Hopefully we finish in time for me to use it. But I'm hoping it's going to be similar to like the Santa Fe Trail with some nice benches, better pavement, lighting and all that. So that's a great project that again, we were able to leverage dollars from the state and federal. You've heard Measure R mentioned a couple of times here. Measure R is that quarter-cent sales tax that folks voted on, and it's going to be coming up again. Ted, when? 2036. It seems like a long time away, but it'll be here tomorrow. So when that comes up, remember all the great work that's being done because of Measure R.
Larry, anything on that?
Well, just a little more to Measure R, you know, we've been forced to sales tax, and they've leveraged that into millions and millions of dollars that come in because we're considered a self-help county. And there's other counties that have that, but a lot of this work could not be done because we bring it to show the state that we're willing to put up the funds to it and then come back. So, Ted, what's the exact amount they brought in? Billions. And they literally brought in billions of dollars that's come in these projects. They're getting ready to do the 99 widening from Pixley to Delano, and then the last segment will be from Tulare to Pixley. But you wouldn't know the challenges that we have, and people are against it. You know, they go to the Bay Area and there's people talking, well, we don't need a widen. Well, we got them here. The other thing about the county, how it works, is we do a 2-year plan. Our resource management agency brings up a plan to the board of supervisors for a 2-year plan on the roads they're going to repair, the projects they're doing. A lot of it has to wait because the weather has to have warm weather to be able to apply the asphalt and the materials. So it all gets put in, but we're hitting roads constantly, nonstop. So it is a continuous process that goes through, and our staff does an amazing job on maintaining our roads and continuing. We have 3,000 miles of roads, and so they're doing everything they can to keep them all open and going.
All right, the correct answer was Lover's Lane, but great job, everybody. I just used to live over there, so. Amy mentioned Goshen, the road, but I'd like to talk about Goshen, the community now. Circulation, like we were talking about transportation, is going to become increasingly important as Tulare County is growing faster than 2/3 of the other counties in the state. Neighboring community Goshen has quickly become an answer to many of Tulare County's affordable housing needs. Just last month, the county zoned an additional 700 acres for development there. There's plenty of demand to build there, but not enough sewer capacity to service new development. How are the city and the county working together to solve this problem?
All right, clarification. We did not approve zoning.
Oh, you're right.
It's the initiation, so it's going to be probably at least a year-long process to look at the exact issues you're talking about, working with the city regarding that, working with the Goshen Services, Community Services District about capacity. Cal Water currently services Goshen with water, so they'll be, Kevin's there, they'll be in the talk. So we have not approved the zone change yet. We've just initiated that to see what's out there, what development may be interested in the future, but it has not happened because certainly, obviously, we have to work with the city and talk about the issues that we just talked about. But there has been a lot of development, which is good development, a lot of housing, which, as we know, is certainly needed in our area.
Well, the one thing to think about, the reason we're growing so fast is because we do have the most affordable housing in the state. And the reason we do is because your board of supervisors, not trying to pat ourselves on the back, we don't add a bunch of fees. A lot of these counties add a lot of impact fees, a lot of fees that you end up having to pay, which adds an enormous cost to your housing. So we do everything we can to assess the fees and the costs, and we want to help. We're going to make certain that people have affordable housing, people can afford a home. A lot of these mandates coming down are just driving the costs of housing exponentially. So we're doing what we can at the board level, and we've done that for quite some time, even before I came on the board. We've done that, we continue to do that. We're not, a lot of them see it as a money-making feature and how they're going to supplement income and do things. We're not doing that. We want to make sure it's spread. So you need to understand that that's why we're growing, and that's why we're seeing so many cars and the growth so fast, is because we are known as a place where we still have affordable housing. Even though the cost seems to be very high, go statewide and you'll see a huge difference.
And when I say about doing all these studies, that's what the environmental impact report is all about. That's what's going to be happening during that time.
So everyone knows I'm, Mr. Real Estate, right? I run the Tulare County Association of Realtors, and my wife's the CEO for the Tulare and Kings County Builders Association. So at our house, you hear real estate all the time. So when we saw what's going on in Goshen over the last few years, it's been great because Tulare County is known for affordability. I mean, that's why a lot of people are moving here, because you can live the American dream here. The average home in California, it's almost $1 million. And for a lot of people, that's just unattainable. So when you come and look at communities in Tulare County, all of a sudden you get really excited to see a brand new home that's $400,000. And so as everyone knows, we put a new sewer treatment plant in the City of Visalia about 15 plus years ago. And a lot of people think, well, that should have taken us through the 30 years. Well, we designed it where it's really going to be developed in pods, right? So it was designed that as capacity needs arose, that we continue to add pods until it reached full capacity of the design. And so, I read in the newspaper the other day that Goshen's looking at possibly annexing 750 acres, I think is actually what it was, which would be huge. So we just did our new sewer master treatment plan, which is about a 20-year outlook of what our needs are. And we also asked the Goshen Sewer Community District to give us their projections on what they're going to need. I don't think those 700 acres were projected in there because I don't know if people understand. Right now, you're looking at about 4.5 units per acre of housing and about 3.5 people per home. So if it does grow that much, we're looking at 10 to 11,000 people. That would make Goshen bigger than Farmersville, Woodlake, Lindsay, Dinuba, or no, it would be smaller than Dinuba. It would be the 5th largest city in Tulare County. And so definitely if we were to get to that point where the county's looking to expand Goshen, we would definitely need to be talking and making sure that we're on the same path so that we can provide those services and do it in a way that it's not hurting either one of our communities. So yeah, we definitely can do it. We just need to have the good conversations that we need to have between the county and the city to make sure that we have services for everybody.
And that wouldn't all be housing. There would be, probably some ag uses, some light industrial, some commercial uses. But something I again want to highlight, probably 8, 9, 10 years ago, you wouldn't even see the city and the county folks sitting up here together doing what we're doing. So the collaboration has really gotten really well between the county and the city. Our CAO, who is the equivalent to a city manager, now meets monthly with they always have city manager meetings, and I don't think, Leslie, a CAO from the county was ever involved in that in the past that I'm aware of. So there's just a lot of collaboration that goes on now and working together and talking about things. We still may bump heads on things, and we may still do things that, you know, maybe the city doesn't want happening, but we talk about it first and say, well, you know, we have our general plan, they have their general plan, and we have to stick, you know, legally to what our general plan, so when folks come to the county and say, I want to develop this where it says I can, it's really hard to say, well, no, you can't. But again, we're working together.
All right, well, as we've established, Tulare County is an affordable place to live. We definitely are building more houses here, and we will have more population here. And that growing population will need to have access to health care. Tulare County has the highest percentage of Medicaid and SNAP enrollees in the state, with nearly 2/3 of the population on Medi-Cal for health insurance and nearly 1/4 of the population needing food stamps. Both of these programs were severely cut in the federal tax and spending bill approved by Congress last month. How will these cuts affect our communities?
Well, that's kind of one of my passions as a former COIA employee. But there's still a great amount of uncertainty in how this is all going to roll out. The California Hospital Association estimates it's going to result in about $66 billion and $128 billion in revenue losses over the next 10 years, depending on your Medi-Cal population, which we know in Tulare County is very high. So some people will lose their coverage, and our local hospital, and Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, they've been working closely with the California Hospital Associations to project how this is going to affect our population, our most vulnerable population, and keep our healthcare district strong. But having been at COIA for many years, I know that they are committed to transparency, and they will keep us all apprised as to what's going on. One side note is that one of our electeds, Mr. Valadeo, talked about the set aside, I think it was $50 billion or something for rural hospitals. Our hospitals are not considered rural, so we wouldn't get any of that money, and it'd be a drop in the bucket when you spread it out over all the hospitals in the nation. So more to come on that. The SNAP cuts, that's really disheartening. Those are our most vulnerable residents too, disabled, seniors, children. We have more than 142,000 residents in our population of what, 450,000, Amy? That rely on CalFresh or the food stamp program. They're already struggling, you know, to pay the rent. Having come from the the food pantry here locally, I know I've seen those issues that are real. I hope that what will happen is what's happened in the past with our population. If you've been around Visalia for a while, you remember the big freeze, the citrus freeze. And our community has stepped up. Our local foundations have stepped up to support places like Visalia Emergency Aid Food Pantry, Central California Food Bank, which delivers, if you've seen those fresh farmers markets around town, that's put on by California, our Central California Food Bank, all critical resources for our low-income families and their children. The schools, of course, are very helpful. They provide free breakfast and lunch, and I don't think that's going to get cut, is it, Superintendent? No. So we just have to kind of step up like we have before. I know we're always asking a lot of our community to support all our nonprofits, but having food on your table is essential for health and to break that cycle of poverty.
Well, I was just going to add, like, as far as the number, 62% or so of the county, a lot of those folks that are currently, they are working. They're just the working poor. They're not making enough,
I think Doris identified the actual huge impact of some things will change, and we've seen that happen too. So it's really the unknown. And we're talking a lot of money, we're talking a lot of people that really be negatively impacted. But I can assure you, it's just mind-boggling, the conversations that we have of all the different funds, and there's the plan A, B, C, and D, depending on how it goes. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that we are prepared and we will continue to provide the services.
While we're on the subject of the federal tax and spending bill, Brett, if you could maybe, there's have been some discussion that there might be additional housing funds coming out of that down to the state and county level. Do we have any specifics on that at this time?
No, as a matter of fact, I mean, what we've heard hasn't been good. So one of the reasons that Goshen's really been booming is because a lot of these folks were using USDA loans, which were subsidized at, I believe, roughly around 3.5%. And so it was kind of a win-win where the builders were able to sell these and folks were able to buy a home with a lower interest rate and have that for the full 30-year duration. So from what I'm hearing professionally is that they're looking at actually cutting a lot of these funds, which is unfortunate because for affordable housing, I mean, there's nothing better than giving people the opportunity to buy their own home and to do it in a dignified way. So yeah, we're kind of on pins and needles. We met with our Congress member on Monday. My Tulare County Association of Realtors, I know we're meeting with Congressman Costa tomorrow, and we're meeting with Congressman Fong here pretty soon. But yeah, those are things that we're going to be asking for to assist our communities with those programs. So yeah.
All right. Liz, you mentioned vulnerable residents, and obviously people who are unsheltered, the homeless people, they're one of our most vulnerable populations. In May, Governor Newsom announced a model ordinance for local governments to clear encampments which are unsafe for the general public and the unsheltered alike. The caveat is that those sleeping in encampments need a place to go. Now that the Visalia Navigation Center is open and work to reimagine Casa Grande senior living has begun, how close are we to meeting our point-in-time goals of placing all homeless people into some type of shelter?
Well, it's how you eat elephant, one bite at a time, right? Last point of, I haven't heard the most recent one, but it was 400.
I don't have a number, but I do have that there was a decrease, and
1170.
Pardon?
1170.
1170 in Tulare County total, Donna?
Yeah.
Thank you. I got a heckler, but that's a good heckler. Thanks, Donna.
This is really Amy's.
But it's,
Sure.
there's been a 12% decrease in Tulare and Kings County when they do the point-in-time survey. What the point-in-time survey is they go out, is it through HUD, Donna?
That's the rule. They go out to all of the encampments.
Right, 2 nights in January, and that's it. And they go to where, we have volunteers and folks with the Homeless Alliance who know where our homeless folks are living. And so they go to those places and they do this survey. So when they went out these 2 days, one year it was pouring rain, well, you're not going to find a lot of people out in the pouring rain. So, but this year it says there's been a 12% decrease in Tulare Kings County total, with a 13% decrease in Visalia. I think it was like 12% in Porterville. We don't care, but about Porterville, we just care about Visalia. And no, we are not sending our folks from Visalia to Porterville or vice versa. Nobody is sending. Yes, Porterville was a 14%, and Tulare has a 7% decrease. These are all decreasing their homeless population based on these 2 nights in January for the point in time. I like to think that they're accurate because look at all we've done, even in the last year. We have, as was mentioned, we have the Visalia Navigation Center that opened. We just have Majestic Gardens, which used to be the Marco Polo, which used to be a really hot spot in the day. And Visalia, it was. You grew up here, the Marco Polo, that was the place to go. So that has just been converted. Previously, we have the Madison Gardens, which was the 99 Palms, and the Sequoia Lodge.
The loft.
Oh, the lofts at Fort Visalia, another self-help project, and of course Salt and Light in Goshen. So Tulare County, and I'm going to back up a little bit when you mentioned what Governor Newsom said, because I remember just a few years ago when Governor Newsom was telling us, don't touch them, leave everybody alone, let them. Now, all of a sudden, he's reversing, go figure, get rid of them, don't let them be here or there. So I think Tulare County has done an outstanding job of finding housing, making housing for our homeless neighbors. And those are just a few of them. Actually, today when I leave here, we have our monthly task force on homelessness. I encourage you to sometime come, the third Wednesday at 1:30, and you see what we did is we put together all the players in Tulare County, faith-based, community partners, self-help, the affordability folks, and we meet monthly because there was a time when everybody was working in silos and people may have been duplicating or not knowing what another entity was doing, and now once a month we all meet, and there's really some great things that happen in those meetings. So we're doing a great job. It's kind of like spinning plates, so you know, you start, when you get to that end, you got to run back to the first one and start spinning it again. But I think we're doing a good job.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if you look at how a lot of communities kind of handled the homeless situation, they just kind of turned a blind eye. And you didn't see that in Tulare County. You saw the cities and the counties really working together to come up with real permanent solutions with supportive housing, with emergency housing options. And so I don't agree with Newsom very often, but this is one time where actually I agree with them. I think it's inhumane to let people, live and die out in the streets. As a first world country, we shouldn't be doing that. And so we have created, we've spent tens of millions of dollars, if not, upwards of $100 million on real housing, real services, wraparound services for our community. And so we are absolutely pushing our residents to get off the streets and to get into housing and to services so that they don't die on the streets, because it's just not a proper way for anyone to be living. So it's kind of like the carrot and the stick saying, where we didn't just go out and just say, hey, get lost, how am I going to get better? We don't know, just figure it out. No, we put our money as a community together to say, hey, we want to help you guys get better. And now that those solutions are available, now we're very strongly encouraging them to go seek those solutions.
But we have to have the housing and the programs for them to go into, and that's been the problem. And that's like with the new executive order, I don't know if you mentioned that, the president's executive order is criminalizing homelessness, forcing folks into state hospitals or locked facilities. We don't have very many state hospitals left or locked facilities. So, again, we have to take a look at that. But in Tulare County, we have done an excellent job. And you mentioned Casa Grande. Do you want to update on that? Sure. So Casa Grande, as many of you may remember, was an assisted living facility on Walnut and Santa Fe. The family retired, decided they did not want to, the kids didn't want to continue on. So actually, former Mayor Puchigan, Brian Lee, did you see that?
He's over
gave me a call one day, knew the family, and said they were interested in selling. Our folks, I think, may have already kind of heard that and been on it, and so the county bought that facility. And we are currently in the, architectural phases. Natalie, our Director of Behavioral Health, Dr. Natalie Bolin, is there. So it'll probably start the renovation in June of 2026. It will be a 60-bed mental health rehabilitation center. It's going to have a 16-bed locked substance abuse, and that in the past there wasn't really a lot of funding for substance abuse for folks, so that's part of that facility. What else, Natalie?
Another 60-bed adult residential occurring. So
Right. So like our augmented board and care. So augmented board and care. So we currently have a facility on Tulare and Pinkham area, and so we will now have more beds for that. A lot of our clients, consumers in the county, have to go out of county for these types of services. And when you're in these types of services, you also want to make sure that the family is involved. You want to work with getting folks back independent and on their own and maybe reconciled with their family. And now that they will be right here in the county, it will be easier to work on that type of treatment. We received $12 billion, no, billion, I wish.
Hold out on us.
Wow, that would be it. $12 billion for this program, so we're very excited about that. We also have a crisis stabilization unit in partnership with Cahuilla Health, and that's projected to open in October still? Yeah, Jack, yeah, October, okay. So this will be a 24/7, 365-day walk-in crisis intervention and stabilization for our youth, which is very much needed.
All right. The next question, a member submitted prior to the event, and then after this question, I think we're going to open it up to questions from the audience. But I do want to premise this question a bit. So every year, these press releases get sent out about how Visalia, Tulare County is like the least educated place in America and all these things. I want you guys to know that those numbers do not tell the whole story. They also rank California very low on all of these stories. That also is not the whole story. We have a huge population of students who enter school who do not speak English, and we have to get those students up to speed, and often they are the best of us in college, but it takes them a long time to catch up because English it's really a bad language. I mean, I speak it, but like all the other languages are better. It's really good for writing, it's brief, but for speaking, it's not very fluid. So anyways, now I'll ask the question. Do we have a long-term plan to improve the educational opportunities in Visalia and attract higher paying jobs to our community?
Well, at the city level, we're working very cooperatively with Visalia Unified and COS to share our growth data and coordinate planning, right? Because that's part of the problem. We grow fast, we don't have enough schools are overcrowded. So we're working with them, and our staffs meet on a regular basis, at least once a month, to share information and data. And then thanks to all of us who passed that great Measure C for College of Sequoias, we're going to have a 4-year campus here locally. That's going to make a big difference for our population. They're going to be able to obtain that 4-year degree right here while living at home, so it makes it much more affordable. And that is the key to breaking the cycle of poverty too, is education. So once we expand our higher access to education, I think it's kind of the build it and they will come, right? We'll get those higher paying jobs, but we are an agricultural centered economy. So I think what we're looking at is a lot of ag technology. And if you've been out in the ag world lately, they have made vast changes to agriculture at a high rate, just like everything else that's changing so quickly in our world. And I think COS has some wonderful programs for ag technology, and that we will see our numbers going up. It's like you said, it's not the whole story. It's a Visalia MSA, so it includes other areas, not just Visalia Unified.
And I wish Adam Peck were here with the WIB, because he can explain it so well. And unfortunately, if you didn't know, Adam is leaving the WIB. That's going to be a really big loss. But I see, Kirk is here from the Visalia Unified School District. I'll give you his phone number if you want to call him and ask him what Visalia. No, I think a lot of people again are working together. I can't say. I wasn't say. I think Larry brought those numbers down, but I don't know. But something I do want to mention about that, and I just actually forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the county. I want to just mention what the county is doing. We recently initiated what we call a career incentive program, because what we've been finding just locally, and I don't know if other employers are finding it, it's just hard to get folks to come or even stay. And we've been putting this off for a long time, but we initiated career incentive pay, which the longer you stay with the county, every 5 years you get an increase. So we were finding that I think it was 55% of our workforce were with the county under 5 years. And that ends up costing a lot for training and whatnot. So you can get an increase of up to 10% through 20 years of staying with Tulare County. So that's something that I know a lot of folks are looking at initiating. Hopefully that helps. We'll see.
Is Brent Calvin here?
I don't see it.
I didn't see him,
John's
right?
here. John knows.
Honestly, like what COS did, I don't know if people realize how special of a bond measure that they passed. Visalia's always had, at Tulare County, we've always had the problem of the massive brain drain, right? I know I went to school here, I went to Red Oak High School, and 99% of my friends wanted to expand their education, so they went off and got 4-year degrees. And most of them, once you've established a life, you start dating someone, you start working, and then you stay there. And then you build your life elsewhere, and they never come home. And so we have this massive brain drain that's been going on forever. And I think we're one of the largest centers without a 4-year university. Obviously, we lost a 4-year opportunity a couple of decades ago when we went to UC Merced. And so to see what COS did and Brent Calvin, when they just kind of single-handedly said, we're just going to fix this problem ourselves. We're going to do a 4-year university system at a 2-year community college. And then to see the overwhelming support from our community to say, yeah, tax me, I'm willing to invest in this. I'm willing to invest in our children and in their future. It's beautiful to see that happen here. And I'm excited. I have hopes that my kids will go to school there. I went to COS for 2 years and I transferred out to Fresno State. And I would have loved to have done all that here without having to move to Fresno or to drive up there a few times a week. And so, yeah, if you guys see over there on Tulare and Mooney, they've already done some demolition. There's still some commercial properties that are getting close to being demolished. And then we're going to have an amazing 4-year university center there that's going to offer multiple degrees from multiple universities. And so I'm excited about that. I think this is great for our community. And, hopefully, sometimes we come out on the top of some of these lists, and unfortunately sometimes we come out on the top on the wrong list. And, I think we know that doesn't really represent who we are. And so I'm excited to see that we put our money where our mouth's at and that we want to see change here.
Well, I can say that 6 schools in Tulare County, Visalia Unified being one of them, actually got Distinguished School of the Year. And I went, my wife's school went, and we went down there. And there's about 300 schools in California. So think how many schools are in California? There's about 300 that got Distinguished School. I mean, that kind of gives you an idea of the system. And I'm not being particular about anything on where it's at. It should be much higher than 300. But so Tulare County does have that. And honestly, I kind of take exception to being called how ignorant we are and how diseducated, because this is a farming community. I know guys that are plumbers, welders, mechanics making 6 figures, never went to college. And you can go around and they're everywhere. And I'll put those guys against anybody with a 4-year degree that took basket weaving or political science, running around trying to figure out, and they can't figure out why they can't get a job. And how often do you hear that? I got a 4-year degree and I can't get a job. Woe is me, someone needs to pay my tuition, right? And now I'm gonna get in trouble now. But anyway, I mean, as a community and live in this community, to hear that, and then people on Facebook, because they're such geniuses, going, "You better Tulare County." Really? I mean, they turn around and there's some people here that, and that's what they're doing. They're in business. They're working. They grew up on their ranches. They grew up farming. They grew up doing these things. They didn't go to college. They may have gone to COS a couple of years, maybe went to Fresno State a couple of years. They're back home working. And they're making a lot more money than a lot of people are in business for themselves. So I think when you hear this information, we need to look at it. I'm not anti-education at all, but you make choices in life, and there's classes you take, the easy ones, you get a degree to run around, you got it. Let's see what they're doing when they get out of it and what they put their student on. So, and what, now going backwards, what Tulare County is doing is we have an economic development portion here, resource management, is doing everything they can to really bring in business and work with companies and bring in, the movie industry, all different types of industry, doing everything they can to bring jobs here. I remember packing houses, you'd have 100 people working in a packing house. They're now computerized where they're running 4 or 5 people. So those people ought to work. And that's not just that. You go to these stores and you got self-checkouts. Now, granted, that's a starter job. For some people, that's a career, but it's a starter job and you're working up. And so those jobs are disappearing and these people have no ability to gain experience either. So we are doing what we can to bring in business. But I think we all should take exception when they say how ignorant we are, the least educated here, because I guarantee you, I put money on those guys than a lot of people who come back with a 4-year degree or whatever.
As a degree holder, I appreciate your vote of confidence.
Yeah, some end up newspaper publishers.
I think, Larry, you hit on a lot of key points, and the mayor talked about putting our money where our mouth is, with the bond measure. But another thing that we need to do to support our schools, and I know the superintendent's really passionate about this at VUSD, is connecting our businesses with our students. There's many of you here that already run intern programs, at the county and the city and Kauai. But if you have that plumbing job and you're making 6 figures, you can afford to take a high school kid around and show him what life is like. And then you send him over to Jonna Shingle at COS and she makes a taxpayer out of him. So I really hope that we all continue to invest in our future. I'm a VUSD volunteer, so I think everybody in this room could be a VUSD volunteer or TCOE.
Well, I think to everybody's point too, our local schools invest a lot in technical education too.
Yep.
So we're not just telling kids you have to go to college. We're saying like you need to pick a path. College isn't always that path.
Right. Need a job.
Kirk, if you need any assertiveness training classes, I have a teacher for you.
Do we have any questions from the audience? Have we answered?
Oprah.
Raise your hand if you have a question.
Oprah.
No one?
We answered them all.
In the back of the room. You'll have to yell. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So, for the transportation system where they pick up the patient, if it's a patient, do you plan to offer car seats for the pediatric patients, newborns, or if it comes to the visits?
That is a great question. I believe the answer is, when you say pediatric patients, most parents are required to have car seats for their children. So we would expect that to be available when they pick the child up. But especially if you're coming from the hospital, I know most of the time the hospitals give you free car seats to go home in.
Some need booster seats, some need car seats, different types of car seats, and because they don't have a big vehicle, they may not even have that, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, well that's a good point.
We have a transportation system at our clinic at Altura, but we usually call them to see how many children are coming, but it'd be nice to supplement what our staff does with your services, but they do need car seats
And who are you with?
Like in the micro.
Altura, thank you. Okay, very good, thank you.
We'll take that back to the
Yes.
transit committees.
I think Ted left.
Thank you.
Ted's
Great
still-
question.
he's Ted's taking notes.
Anyone else have a question? I have more, but yes.
Yeah, how long will what is the plan? How long will water last?
How long will water last in Visalia? Okay, so her question was, how long will the water last in Visalia? Thank you. And so I actually reached out to our friends at Cal Water the other day, and I asked them that specific question. I've asked them a few times, or during presentations they give us a report, and so I kind of knew the answer, but I wanted to make sure if this was brought up that we could give you the correct answer. And so by state law, they're required to do studies that verify that they have enough water to supply all the current and future needs for the next 40 years. And then they have to recertify that every 5 years. And so they're essentially every single year running studies to make sure that we will always have a 40-year supply ahead of us. And so, yeah, as far as we're concerned and Cal Water, we have 40 years worth of water for us and our future needs. And every single year they recertify that. Am I right or wrong, Cal Water? Thumbs up? All right. So yeah, we're doing good. And so the other thing too that people, we are an ag-based economy, right? And so Tulare County, has hundreds of thousands of acres of ag. And for the most part, I don't think people realize that it actually takes more water to produce ag than it does for actual residents. And it's a slight difference, but it actually is a difference that if we were to hypothetically convert everything into residential in the whole county, we would actually be using less water than the ag does right now.
Starve to death.
We would starve to death, yeah, we'd be reliant on other countries for our food.
The whole country would starve to death. Anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, Jag from Kauai, and I think Liz, we've talked to you a little bit about this, but as we're trying to recruit physicians into the community, they're looking for these master planned communities, comprehensive I know there's a lot of popularity up in North Fresno and Madera County, but that's what these physicians are looking for in this community as we're trying to recruit them is, again, we want affordable housing, absolutely, but we serve a range of folks that we're trying to recruit into the area. And just, I don't know if there's any plans around master plan communities as well.
I know somebody from Kuya called me and asked me about Rancho Viejo up in Madera. And I'm still in shock that that happened in Madera because my sister lives out there and they have no water.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
Right.
But we have taken an approach, I think it's going to end up being similar. It's over in Carlton Acres where the new Costco is going to go. It is a master plan community. There are many stages. There's recreation, there's a school site planned there, there's walking trails, but that's not going to happen overnight. That again, it's based on our economy, but we have a lot of high-end housing available here in Visalia, behind gates and some that are not. I always tell the residents when I talk to them, you can move back to San Francisco and live in a studio apartment and work your tail off, or you could live in a nice house in Visalia and go visit San Francisco on the weekend and afford to stay in a nice hotel. We just offer a much better quality of life, and I think we have some physician wives who will attest to that. And so I think that's the key, is just getting that message across, because when from my understanding is when the physician comes here, he jumps right into a job. He's busy, he's working his 10, 12 hours a day getting established, but the wife's left at home with the kids. So it's important.
Or the husband.
Or the husband, yes, because we have a lot of female physicians. You are correct. How politically incorrect is that? But so we need to make sure that there's a social connection for those families as well. And I think we were reading about that somewhere on social media, that talking about the things, I think it's called Visit Visalia, walking down the street, saying hello to strangers, just, generally keeping this warm, welcoming atmosphere that we are proud of here in Visalia.
All right. We have one over here.
It's been mentioned a number of times about being an agricultural community, and we just talked about water for domestic uses, but what is the county and the city doing to help support our ag and continue our economy that is so deeply rooted in that, and so that we can still survive?
So there's many groundwater sustainability agencies, they call them GSAs, and I sit on East Cooley, I'm an alternate on Greater Cooley, and I'm an alternate on East Ames. And it depends geographically where you're at. East Cooley is in trouble. Just think of it as a bowl. As you go east, you get towards the rim of the bowl, and there's some wells, some guys on the far east side there, they're bedrock already, and so they really have to be careful. We have different thresholds that we have to set out, and it's very unfortunate what we're looking at. When Jerry Brown did Sigma back in 2014, they estimate over 1 million acres of land being fallow in the Central Valley, which is really going to impact our food availability, our cost of food. We feed the world. We really do. We feed the world. So that's going to cost jobs. I remember when I was at the freeze in 1990, I was still a city police officer, and I watched in that 1 year the devastation that happened to our communities. And mom and pop stores closed down. Things were being just shut down, businesses. People moved out of the area. They had to go find the work because they were all at work. That was 1 year. So imagine what's going to happen when we fallow land permanently. We're doing what we can, and the county really has no control because the state's pushing it down to state law, but we are heavily involved in our groundwater sustainability agencies to make sure what we can do. They all have different guidelines and rules, which has upset people because it depends on geographics. East side, there's some spots that are really, really shallow wells and they're bedrock that can't go anymore. There's one spot there around Valley where water's bubbling up on the ground where it comes up, but it's only 20 feet deep. So it's coming down, it's hitting bedrock, it's pushing up. You get further west, you got guys that got wells down to 1,200 feet. So everyone's trying to work together to make sure that we have enough water. We have to be sustainable by 2040. And there's pumping fees. I remember when I had to buy water, sometimes it was $1,500 an acre foot that I got when it was brought in. They're being charged $500 an acre foot now at East Cooley, and then their allotment is reduced down each year, depends on rain, there's a whole lot of factors that take effect. So the thing is that the people that sit on these boards are farmers. And they're know the industry. These guys will round water numbers off, and calculations off the top of their head because it's their life, it's what they do. So they're doing it, we are protecting the farming industry, and these are farmers doing what they can to, number one, help protect the farmer, but also continue for us to continue to produce land. I hope I answered your question.
Can I add something real quick to that? Not only is it going to affect our farm, the agriculture and our production, but when these lands get fallowed, Liz and I both sit on the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Board. We're really worried about the issues now. What are you going to do with all that dust if you're not having crops in there? And it's because, we have done an incredible job on lowering what we call our PM 2.5, which is the dust and whatnot in the air here. Unfortunately, geographically, we are in a bowl here too, so everything kind of settles. But we are starting to talk about that at the Air Board about what's going to happen when this land starts getting fallowed. And as we already see when we drive around now, when it's being farmed, a lot of dust. But what's going to happen then, Brett?
Yeah, so I just wanted to just give a quick input. So, I mean, essentially you have to either take less water out of the ground or put more water in. And so I want to say, I know we have some representatives from our Congress members. We've been very fortunate that Congressmember Costa and Congressmember Fong have both been very supportive of the city's efforts of actually creating more recharge basins. So if you go out there off the 198 by the flea market out there, everyone just thinks we built a walking path. And it's used all the time, so we love the fact that people are using it. But in reality, those are actually water recharge ponding basins. So when we have some wet years, that's where we're putting the water to try to get more water back in. So the city is absolutely working with Cal Water and with the county and other agencies to make sure that when there is that extra water, we just don't let it go to waste, that we're putting it back into the ground.
And that's what a lot of the fees and GSA are charging are going, is recharge ponds. You see them popping up everywhere. I grew up in the 60s when our canals ran year round, and there were reservoirs strategically placed for a reason, because the old timers knew better than the rest of us what to do. And we didn't have these issues because we had water year round. And they've taken our water, they've taken the allotment, and they're sending it out to the ocean. And they want to bring the salmon up the San Joaquin River. Giant Water Authority showed a picture a couple years ago of the $1 million salmon, they called it, because that's what they anticipated it cost to get one salmon to come up the San Joaquin River. And our water, and they've just taken any surface water we have, and they do a presentation during the dinner. They take a bucket, and they say, fill this bucket up, and then they pour out, and they never refill it, and it goes dry. Well, that's aquifers. They're just buckets. And they've stored water for many centuries. And what's happened is they've taken our water, and we're not getting it here, and they can say whatever they want. They're flushing the Delta with it, and they're not worried about it. When you have Congress people make a comment and say, we don't need the American farmer, we can get our food from China. Well, it'll glow in the dark when you get it, trust me. So they don't have the regulations that we have for our safety. But what we need to do is we need to put the pressure on the state to give us our water. I know Valadeo's been heavily involved. Everybody's doing what they can. But when you go back east, and David told me this, he goes, you don't understand. You go back east where a lot of these guys are, there's water everywhere. And they have no idea of what we're doing here. And so we need to get the word out that we just need our water. That would reduce the pumping, and the guys with the surface water could irrigate, we'd still be able to have crops. We are working as a county. We met with the Army Corps of Engineers when we went back to DC. We have an upcoming meeting to work with all our congressional legislators, and we met in Sacramento and are coming down here. And so the minimum pool threshold at Cahuilla Lake is about 12,500 acre feet. It used to be at 8,000 acre feet, and what they do, because you got to remember, Cahuilla is a flood control. It is not a water type providing reservoir. It is a flood control reservoir. So they have a whole different mindset on how to operate that. Well, when they expanded the size of the lake, they only added 4,500 acre feet. The maximum where they have to dump is 70,000 acre feet. There's all these calculations involved, how much snowpack, what's looking at. So we're trying to get them to raise that to 50,000 acre feet. That water will recharge to the ground and come down. It'll help recharge, give us some recharge water underground. During the summer times, they can run through the canals, which will recharge, and the guys can have some surface water. So we're having some meetings. So as a board, like I said, we've been working on that, and we're actually getting forward, and we're trying to get them to change that. It's on the books already. It just says they have the discretion to do it, and none of them are willing to take that discretion. So we're doing what we can to help.
All right, do we have any more questions from the audience? We have one. Oh. We're going to come back over here in just a minute.
Speaking of agriculture, what truth is there, or should we be concerned with a new study from UC Riverside that indicates that there is subsiding or sinking of the ground in certain parts of the Central Valley?
It's true.
It's a reality. And what's happened is again, there was no recharge to aquifers. They pumped and they're collapsing. And so they had to do a section of the Frank Kern Canal, because what happened was it dropped down so low and it actually caused a backup on the Frank Kern, and it reduced their total flow by something that's like 60%. It was pretty substantial. So they ended up, they did a new section of that, which is already subsiding. But everything subsides. You buy a house, a couple years later, you see the concrete cracking, there's some settlement or something going on. So the problem is that there's a particular spot in the South County that's really bad. And there are other areas, I'm told there are areas in Madera County and Merced County that have actually sunk down too, so especially on the west side. But it's a reality, and that's what we're trying to avoid, because once they collapse, they'll never come back.
Is there any truth to foreign investors and even people here in the United States that are buying up farmland for the water rights, so that in the future, should we have a shortage of water, they're going to try to sell it back in exorbitant amounts?
Doug?
Yes. And major universities too, buying ground, leasing ground to have control of the water so they can fill in LA.
I asked Mr. Raboon because there's been a lot of issues in Kings County with that, with water, about people buying the water rights and then shipping them out of the area, correct, Doug? Yeah, so, thanks.
You know, we have what's called Land IQ, which is the satellite system that actually takes evaporation and depending on the type of crop and the soil type, they can very accurately assess how much water is being consumed.
Okay.
And so they have that. But there's a particular GSA, Kings County, that Doug's been fighting, that they don't want Land IQ. They don't want nothing. Why? Because our water's going there, and they're at the deep end. They're pumping out, literally pumping out from under us with no ability to track what's going on. They fought meters. Doug, if I'm wrong, correct me. They fought meters, they fought everything, but they want us all to put meters here, and they're shipping the water to LA. And so Doug's been fighting that, taking that challenge of stopping that water from leaving our basin.
I serve on the Mid-Kauai, which is part of the whole Greater Kauai Water Board, and we just recently, for one thing, the Kauai GSA, which is the two that Larry serves on and one I serve on, we're one of the few water agencies that has, cross our fingers, got approval from the state. So we should get that approval soon, because we have a balanced plan. And part of that balanced plan is that there is water trading going on, but you have to be contiguous. We're not selling our water to have it shipped to LA. We're selling it so farmer A can support farmer B. And I think that's the way that we should work, is that we need to support our own. And if you really want to get in the weeds in water, go to a place called Water Blueprint online, and they can tell you that. And they can tell you that that Delta smelt they've been trying to protect all these years, for 20, 30 years, It's not increased its population at all. There's non-native bass that are eating it, and it's just a joke. So we need our water, and we need to tell our legislators we need our water back.
There's a new smell now. You know?
Yeah.
There's a new smell now.
I can only
Because
imagine.
they can't find the other one. No, I'm serious.
I know.
Any others? Oh, do you have something to say?
Well, I was just, if there are no other questions, there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, and that's animal services in Tulare County. I don't, that's the meeting?
Yeah.
But I think there's going to be a community forum.
Okay.
I see you, Paul. Sorry, I got the microphone. I just want to say, I know Visalia's been doing a lot, but Tulare County, we are really looking at, we've already approved one project out at our animal services to enclose an area that's been a wash pad to add kennels, but we're also looking at adding more. Rob, there's Rob. About another million, 2 million, 3 million?
2 million more, got 48 kennels.
Okay, 2 million more, and we also, a big problem, we have a spay and neuter clinic now through a gracious donation from somebody through the San Francisco SPCA who works very closely with us. They come out and do vaccination clinics, they come in and do spaying and neutering, and that's really the big issue. We had a vet on site, unfortunately we lost her, but we're also looking, I think, in this new budget to increase that salary, right, Rob? We are now. We are now, right, Rob? So hopefully, if you know any veterinarians that want to do some good work for Tulare County, and actually I think Visalia has brought some of their animals over too, because it's a big issue.
Real quick, does the chamber have any announcements we need to make before we wrap up? No? Okay. So we're almost at the end of our time. Just going to give Larry, you talked a lot, Amy. We're going to give Larry a chance just to hit on something maybe we didn't hit on real quick, and then Brett and Liz as well.
Okay, two things. Number one, our expansion does not mean we're going to take everybody's animals because we're maxed out. It's the city people dumping animals in the county, we're picking them up. I want to thank our staff. That's what they didn't touch on. Our staff's here, they provide us a whole lot of information to help prepare this, to get us up to date, and they work extremely hard, and if it wasn't for them, we couldn't do it. So thank you very much.
Real quick, I just want to say, the county has no intention of changing their logo. Next.
I'm just going to hand this mic back off. I just want to let everyone know that how proud we are of our city. Visalia, it's a beautiful place to live. We've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes to make it even better. We're proud of the fact that we just recently became 100% fully staffed with all of our police officers. That hasn't happened in a long time. Same with our fire department. I mean, if you look at what we're doing in the city, we've been doing a lot of work. We just broke ground on our brand new Civic Center in City Hall. It's going to be a $100+ million project, and we're actually paying for that project in cash. I had someone come up to me who deals in this often. He says, I've never heard of another city come up with cash to pay for a project that big. So we're not borrowing your guys' money. We're not putting us into debt. We're working within the means that you guys have asked us to, and so we're excited about what's going on in Visalia. Obviously, the economy's changing a little bit, so that'll be interesting, but we have one of the strongest industrial parks in the entire country, and as the purchasing habits of people are changing, we're seeing a greater need for our industrial park, and so we've had some of the lowest unemployment rates ever in the history of Visalia that we've tracked it, and a lot of that's because we're starting to see some shifting between economic jobs into industrial type jobs. So we're looking at obviously transportation, manufacturing, and we're excited about all the good things that we're doing as a community. So I just want to say thank you. I know a lot of you people in this room. We want to say thank you for all the good work you're doing, and look forward to another good year.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just want to encourage you. I see everybody in here. I would have loved to have seen all of you last night at our Planning Commission Council meeting. So we need you. You are our eyes and ears, and we need you to let us know what's going on in the city and how we can do things better. We are very economically frugal, We don't want to waste taxpayer monies. But if you have anything, any concerns, please reach out to your council or supervisors. Ours is council@visalia.city, and that'll go to every council member, and we will make sure that we follow up on issues that are important to you, because this is our home, and we have a tremendous staff here. They can handle anything. And I just want to let you know how hard they are working behind the scenes to get things done and to keep you engaged. Check out, if you're a social media fan, we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got our email, and we are here to serve you, and we want to do the best that we can for you who elected us to this position. Thank you.
All right, big hand for our electeds for being here today. And the Visalia Chamber of Commerce, I've got just a few words from the board president, and we want to thank them for everything today as well.
Thank you, Rich. We, as a board, just want to make you aware that we are actively searching for the CEO vacancy for the Visalia Chamber. So if anyone is interested, we are posted on our website with all the job description for the applicants itself. So thank you, members, for being patient with us, and we are working diligently to get that filled.
All right, thanks everybody, that's it.